CLA Echosphere is a new plugin by Waves Audio that was free this Black Friday. In this video we will take a look at how this plugin sounds, how it works and what it can do. My name is mattflanc. Let's get started. CLA Echosphere offers a slap delay and a plate reverb. I'm first going to walk you through some of the presets and the basic UI to show you how it sounds. After that I will go over every button and knob and tell you what it does. So to open the preset menu, click the load button in the top right, go to CLA and there you find the presets. I'm going to now load some of the guitar presets on this guitar loop and then you can judge for yourself and see what it sounds like. So that were some of the guitar presets. I don't have vocals right now, so I'm not going to go over those, but you can do that for yourselves. So there is three sections to the UI. We have the top section with the controls, the screen, and then the slider section. We will take a look at the sliders first. To reset any slider, hold Alt or Option and click the slider or knob. On the left you can adjust the input gain and mute or unmute the slap delay or plate reverb. You can also mute or unmute by clicking the M icon here. Those buttons are linked to the knobs above the input gain. On the right you have the output gain and the dry-wet knob of the plugin. On the middle sliders you can adjust the gain of the delay and the reverb respectively. This is the slider for the delay and this one is for the reverb. And lastly you can also add a high-pass filter and a low-pass filter. When dragging these knobs you can see the frequency of the filter on the little screen above the knob. If you let go of the knob you can see the volume of the slider on the screen. You can also adjust the gain of the slider by dragging up or down on the screen itself. Now let's take a look at the big screen. To change whether the screen displays the controls for the slap delay or the plate reverb, you have to click slap or plate at the bottom right here. Or if you adjust one of the knobs or sliders, it will also change the screen accordingly. First you can set a pre-delay of the reverb, and right below that is the reverb time. You can adjust both of these values by dragging up or down on them, or you can type in an exact value by double-clicking. Then you can adjust the reverb time, RT, for the low and high frequencies independently. All you have to do is click on the value and it will cycle through its different options. Lastly, in the top right is a modulator wheel that seems to go from 0 to 100. But there is something special going on, so I suggest you to follow closely now as it can get a little bit confusing. I will try to explain it very slowly and make everything as clear as possible. As you can see here, the mod wheel is divided into 4 different sections. Right here we have one, here, here and here. Each of the sections goes from 0 to 100 individually, but the value displayed here only goes from 0 to 100 once. You could look at it as 4 different knobs, but you can only control one of them at a time. So the first section goes from 1 to 25 and this section has a low modulation depth. The second section goes from 26 all the way to 50 and this section has a low to medium depth. The third section goes from 51 to 75 respectively and has a high to medium depth. And the fourth and final section goes from 76 all the way to 100 and it has a high modulation depth. Then, by having the control higher or lower within a section, you can change the modulation rate of that section. Let me repeat that. Every section has a set amount of modulation depth, and you cannot change that amount. Having a higher value within a section means that you can change the rate of that modulation and not the depth of the modulation. So for example, I can have the knob set to 25. 25 is the highest value in the first section, so we are still in the first section, which has a low modulation depth. But since 25 is the highest value for this section, the rate of that low modulation will be fast. Or you could set the knob to, let's say, 76. 76 is the lowest value in the final section, and this section has a high modulation depth. But since the value is 76, this is the lowest value that still is in the fourth section, means that we have a high modulation depth, but a slow modulation rate. I hope I made this clear to you, and if you couldn't follow along, feel free to rewind a bit or check out the manual. You can access the manual by clicking the burger here and going to user manual. I will also have the manual linked down below. Next up, let's take a look at the slab. The mod wheel here works the exact same as in the Plate Reverb, but in this case it's on the slab. And we can also adjust the mod wheel here independently from the mod wheel in the Plate Reverb. VSO is basically tape delay simulation. It simulates the delay time that a tape has when it passes between the record and playhead of a recorder. But not only that, it will also load an EQ curve in the background to really emulate the sound. Each tape speed has its own delay value. We have 7.5, 15 and 30 IPS, which stands for inches per second. Their respective delay values are 83 milliseconds, 166 milliseconds and 332 milliseconds. With the sync button, you can sync the delay time to the BPM of your DAW, in this case 140. And then feedback is the amount of signal that is returned to the input, so basically how long it takes for the delay to stop playing. Then we have a routing knob for the slab delay. If you turn on the plate, it will send the output signal of the delay into the reverb. This is serial processing. You can also adjust the send volume of the slab send there. If you turn output on, it will send the slab delay straight to the dry wet mixer. This is parallel processing. Or if you turn both plate and output on, it will be sent to the Plate Reverb as well as the plugin output. However, you cannot send plate back to the slab, it will always go to the plugin output. Then finally, let's look at the top bar with all the controls. We have undo and redo arrows to undo and redo our last settings. Then we have these big arrows which allow us to scroll between different presets, as you can see here. The plugin basically has two instances running to compare A to B easily. You can change between A to B by clicking right here. To copy settings from A to B, you can click this little arrow right here. And now A and B will be identical. If you're in B, you can also copy the settings to A by clicking right here. Then the load button allows us to load our presets, and save button allows us to save our own presets. Or we can save the current setup as the default preset when the plugin is opened up. So that was a long one because some of the controls are pretty complex. If you're still watching, you are amazing and I would really appreciate a like to the video or a sub to the channel. I think this plugin sounds really nice and it has some good functionalities. The UI looks really straightforward, so anyone can just open the plugin for the first time and get something nice out of it. But if you wish to, you can also go pretty deep into the settings, and if you know what everything does and how it works, that you can get a really nice sound. So that's it for this video. If you want to see more videos by me, consider subscribing. I make content about free plugins, tutorials, making music and more. If you like this video, leave a like to support me. Thank you guys for watching. My name is mattflanc. Peace out.